Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among other things. Now, we're taking a look at Matic. Big surprise, right? I've got a really big group of Matic fans, supporters, investors, whatever you want to call it. They love their Matic, and I do too. It's a really awesome coin. I think it has great potential. So we're going to take a look here today at the technical analysis. There's no real fundamentals here, but if you got some insight, feel free to include that below in the comments section. Now, just know I'm not a financial advisor. This is always for educational purposes only. You should definitely do your own research, but know I have years of trading experience, and my goal is to help you become a better trader, to teach you to trade for a lifetime. Now, I do have a signal group that I'm going to release here soon, and it's part of my premium Patreon account, so be on the lookout for that. That will actually help you with everything you need to know, with giving you good entry points, good signals, and of course, best practice along the way. Furthermore, I have $25 in Bitcoin available from Voyager, link in the description below. And if you'd like to join my Telegram community, that's also in the description below. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and check it out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Matic. And before we do, just like to preface, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just to kind of get a baseline of the market, just so we know roughly what's going on, so we can be better informed when it comes to understanding how the altcoins are operating, how they move independent, codependently with Bitcoin, etc. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. And first thing we're going to do is look at the 4-hour chart on Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is interesting recently. We saw some what was potentially fake news recently, where the price went down significantly, ramped back up as if it never happened, and a lot of the other altcoins are kind of following suit as far as it almost never happened, right? Because most of the altcoins we're looking at, the ones I pay attention to, my community likes to look at, we essentially don't see much difference, right? So they didn't dip down like Bitcoin did, but they haven't jumped up like Bitcoin did either. Either way, neither here nor there. Just basically, the good news is that this recent ripple, so to speak, this down and up action, really had no effect on the market except for the fact that it slowed everything down and caused things to kind of just create a lot of indecision. Okay, so it's again neither bad nor good. It is what it is. But just note that we do have some interesting movement here. We can see that we have this slight retracement coming back down. We have a doji candle and a red candle bar here. So it's hard to say specifically what Bitcoin will be doing next, but based on what I see here so far, the momentum does kind of tell us that we're going to probably see a couple more bars, a couple more red bars, and perhaps reach a state of exhaustion and the price come back up. And I say that because I like to look at the Tom DeMark. This is a good indicator here. So Tom DeMark sequential tells us that we are roughly about 4 bars in, and oftentimes you can reach a state of exhaustion after about 9 bars total. Doesn't always go that way, but it is trending kind of towards that. So we'll see what happens. Pay close attention, but that is what it is, right? Big picture though, keep this in mind. We do have the moving averages here working as a support. In other words, the 50-day moving average, this yellow line, is basically a consistent support level. So hopefully, if we see some more red bars, they'll kind of level out and we get some state of consolidation and see the price come back up. Just bear in mind the 200 is coming down, and that is notorious for the actual the problems that, or in other words, it's really good about holding the price down. So when the price has been under 200, it's pretty much stayed that way. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can break above and stay above. That'd be really nice. But honestly, it's hard to say just yet, but I would say within the next, based on its current momentum, we're looking at about 3 or 4 days, we're going to see that being tested. So hopefully the price can break above. We can ride the 50-day moving average out and stay above. But neither here nor there. It is what it is. We don't know specifically what will happen yet. We do have a major resistance level at about 42,000, by the way, and a major support at 32,000, which is right around here, right where the price bottomed out, but also 30,000. So there are a couple of secondary supports, first and secondary, of course. And we also have a resistance right around 40,000 plus 42. So we got 30, 32, 40, 42. It's kind of working itself into a channel here, so we'll see what happens. All right, so that is Bitcoin. Looking at Ethereum, very similar scenario here. If you can tell, it's similar in the sense that the price action has been very, very much the same as Bitcoin recently. It's consolidating, working itself into a channel, no major breakouts. but the inverse is the fact that it is actually working under the 50-day moving average. As you can see with this major decrease in Bitcoin recently, it didn't really take that big of a dip. So it's kind of nice to see that. That I think there was an overreaction by Bitcoin, and a lot of good altcoins, the stable altcoins, are the ones that are not reacting strongly to that price action recently. So the ADAs, the XRPs, the Matics, VET, those are all good ones that are kind of staying fairly consistent right now. But bottom line here is the price action is below both moving averages as well as its previous resistance level that still is yet to be tested for the 10th, 11th time. So we'll see what happens with that soon. But for now, I would say that if Bitcoin can stabilize and kind of continue to go sideways, then Ethereum will inevitably come back up as it usually does. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Matic. And what we do is we look at the one-day chart first, kind of work our way down. And one thing to note is that the one-day chart does indicate that we have a strong support level, the 50-day moving average, working its way up, and it's likely to be tested soon. And if history repeats itself, as you can tell, it's been a pretty strong support level for quite some time. So it does tend to drive the price up. We'll see what happens soon, but I'm going to speculate that the price will bounce off the 50 and project upwards. Again, also keep in mind that the price action, contrary to a lot of the price movement in the past, Matic has done very well with. So if you look at its history and how well it performs, contrary to what Bitcoin is doing, I think that we're going to be in good shape. But there's just a lot of indecision in the market right now, and that's causing things like this to occur with a lot of good coins. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The average true range I do feel is definitely higher than where it's at right now. We should see a range of somewhere in the range of 160 to 210, but instead we're down around 135, 130. So to me, this is a very affordable, very good price. Again, pending Bitcoin not dropping below 32,000 or 30,000, we should expect to see Matic recover quite well. And as you can see, when it gets pushed down too far, it has a tendency of ramping back up quickly. So I feel like this is kind of the calm before the storm, if you were to, because it's kind of working itself into this type of pattern. Again, I don't put a ton of weight into patterns like this, but typically, when you have something like this, a type of wedge, it has a tendency of breaking out, right? So we should see some type of breakout. Again, this is just a loose couple of lines I drew on the screen, so don't bank on this. But oftentimes when you see the price working itself into a pattern like this, it has a tendency of breaking out. Could be up or down, but the 50-day moving average is working as a pretty strong support on the one-day chart. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at there. One last thing to note is the RSI is under 50, which is usually a good sign. It means that it is considered to be oversold, so it's definitely a good value. Moving on to the 4-hour chart, let's take a look here. Oh, just before we do, let's take another look at the time to mark sequential here. I just want to kind of show you this here on the 4-hour chart. This is why I feel like we're going to have a reversal soon, because we do have 7 red bars that have closed in order. And oftentimes with this time to mark sequential pattern, it basically tells us that right around the 9th bar, we have a tendency of a reversal because there's market exhaustion that happens. Because you can only go so long with the price going in one direction without a retracement or a ramp back up. So at this point, I do feel that if we see another couple of bars, we hit a 8 or 9 here in the next 8 hours, we are likely to see a reversal. Again, this isn't a guarantee, but it definitely helps us understand that we are reaching a state of exhaustion. Plus, look at this here. We got a pretty major support level here that's being soon to be tested and or has been tested at right around 134. All right, so just something to note. But I do like to look at that. It does help us a lot. All right, so back to the regular chart. We're looking at the 4-hour chart for Matic. And just to note as well, see how low the RSI is. Very good sign, extremely oversold. So I do feel as if we're going to get a bounce off this 130, this 132, 133 line. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark that. So I think it's likely we're going to see something happen with that. That could work as a strong resistance line moving forward if it breaks below and stays below. But I feel it's more of a support at this point, considering how low the price has gone and the fact that Bitcoin is essentially consolidating still. So Bitcoin can kind of narrow down that consolidation and or ramp up. We will see Matic take off. However, we're not out of the woods yet. We do have both moving averages working as a resistance line. And this is this isn't a major one, but this is referred to as a death cross, where the 50-day moving average comes down, against the 200 when it comes, basically is coming down to cross with the 200. Then you tend to have what's considered death cross, which holds the price down. So again, we're not out of the woods yet, but it is, again, working itself into its channel here. So I'm going to speculate we're going to see some kind of bounce here. Might get rejected off the support and resistance level, come down. Or we could see the inverse, where it comes up, breaks, and it'll break above pretty hard. Oftentimes when it breaks through a major resistance level like that, it can break really fast and hard. But just note that we still have two moving averages to break through, which are commonly more difficult to break than just a traditional support and resistance line. All right, so just keep that in mind. Not out of the woods yet, but I still feel like Matic is very affordable. So we should wait for the time to mark sequential to kind of fulfill its prophecy by seeing if we reach that state of exhaustion and if there's a reversal. Moving on to the 15. Now the 15-minute chart is interesting. All right, and the reason I say that is because obviously we see a lot of red. So there's a lot of red here. There we go. Oh, blast. Sorry, I hate when I see these little guys there. All right. So with that being said, you see this little support level here. Price is coming down to see if we can bounce off. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at the VWAP, which is the volume weighted average price, and the EMA. Now to clarify, the volume weighted average price is the blue line there. And this blue line is essentially just, actually here, we'll just focus on that for the moment. It is the volume lasts 24 hours. See, from right here it started. We got 24-hour volume to right here. And that tells us that this is kind of the range that it's working within to essentially provide us with these standard deviation lines. But the bottom line is that the VWAP tells us the average price based on the volume in the last 24 hours. Now it resets every 24 hours. So if you're new to the channel, or perhaps you're not aware, the volume weighted average price is designed more so for a traditional trading style. In other words, in the last 24 hours, it would normally reset because we have the end of the trading day at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then it resets again, and we have pre-market tomorrow morning. Now, crypto is 24 hours a day, so the VWAP has to reset itself to reset those bars. Bottom line here is that when we see this little reset, that doesn't mean that it's a sign of reversal or anything. It just basically means that the VWAP is resetting and catching up with itself. But the reason why VWAP is important, and it's still valid here, is the fact that it runs right through the center of the price action and tells us that the price is either considered bullish or bearish, or more importantly, it works as a resistance level and or support through the center of the price, right? So right now the price should be, according to the volume weighted average price, right around 130, 132, or is that, sorry, 135. Whereas the price is down as low as 133. Okay, so that basically means it's still working as a resistance level. So the price would have to break above to get confirmation to ensure you want to take entry. Right? So I always wait before taking entry to make sure the price is above the VWAP line. That's just my thing that I use personally because it works very well for day trading and even swing trading too, as long as you use the right time frame, such as the 15-minute chart. Okay, so that's kind of that. So at this point, we see the 15-minute coming down to try to test this support level of 132. All right, so that's the VWAP line. Concurrently, we have the EMA line too, pretty much telling us a similar situation. EMA is an exponential moving average that works very well by helping understand if it's bullish or bearish, and as we can tell, the price action is consistently below. It broke above, but resisted off the VWAP line and stayed below, pretty consistent over the last 24 hours. So that basically implies that we're still in a bearish trend, right? So that being said, in order to take entry comfortably, if I were to, I would wait for the price to bounce off the support level of 132. If it bounces and stays above and holds above for a little while, I would say no less than 30 to 60 minutes. And we'd be in pretty good shape to consider taking entry. However, we want to wait for the price action to come above the VWAP line and or EMA lines. All right. So I like to kind of give examples of what I mean by this. It can be difficult with a choppy price action recently, but let's see if I can give you an example. In other words, you see how the price came down here and bounced off the support of 132, roughly 131. It came up and it jumped over EMA. So if you see here, this EMA line here is holding as a support. So we got support here, and then you see how it comes up over and it bounces off the support, keeps going up. That's an example of how the EMA line should work in a bullish trend. Right now that obviously reversed quite quickly. Became bearish, bullish. In these states of consolidation, it can be difficult to get a read on it. So unless you're planning to do like a short-term day trade, sometimes just for maybe a swing trade of some sort, right? If you're doing a swing trade, you want to keep in mind that you want to pay attention to maybe larger time frames, like at the 4-hour chart, to get that confirmation that you're looking for, because you're gonna, if you have a really tight stop loss, you're gonna get it stopped out. But with day trading, it's a little different because you have a little more flexibility. But the bottom line here is that the EMA line, that is how it works. So moving forward, if you are planning to take entry, I'd highly recommend you wait for the price to kind of stabilize and bounce off of this line here. It may not come down and test it, or it may test it and fall below and come back up above. But the end all be all here is I would much rather you take entry above support of the VWAP and the EMA in order to feel comfortable with that. In other words, I would only want to take entry here if I were to have the price action above EMA and VWAP lines. So let's just say the VWAP line kind of does one of these, then the EMA comes and does one of these, right? So the price action is right here. You want to wait until the price action gets right here above both of those lines before you take entry. And you don't just jump in arbitrarily. You jump in when you have confirmation. So that is confirmation, but you need some type of length of time to get confirmation. Because, I mean, as you can see here, like, look, if you took that same theory, price as soon as it comes up above EMA and you took entry, you would have got stopped out or lost a decent amount. So you want to wait for confirmation. What I do for confirmation personally, and this doesn't work for everyone, is that I wait for 2 15-minute green bars to give me that confirmation. In other words, if you look here and you see, that's 1 15-minute green bar. 1 15-minute green bar, you see some consistency here. There's a lot of red and green, red, green. That's more of a Christmas pattern. I don't trust getting in or taking entry when I see that, because that's premature. However, if you look at, somewhere back here, I mean, again, it's easy to say because it was an obvious bull trend, but if you see right here, you see these 2 green lines, these 2 green 15-minute green bars. So had you taken entry here, you would have been profitable because the price is over EMA, VWAP, and you got that 30 minutes of confirmation. Now, it can be difficult to actually have the patience to wait that out. I can assure you that. I know it's not easy. So, use this with caution. It's not a foolproof plan, but what is foolproof is having the price more so above EMA and VWAP lines before taking entry. Because what you're doing is you're jumping on the bandwagon of the whales and the bulls, essentially, that are taking control, and you're riding it out until they become exhausted. There's no point in trying to fight to go upstream, right? That's where these little things here and here are. But if you wait for good confirmation, so in other words, if we see the price bounce off of the 132 range, kind of hold above, and then we get the EMA and the VWAP lines to come down below the price, that would be a good consideration for entry. And then as far as big picture is concerned, because I know a lot of you like to understand what the prediction is, my prediction is that Matic, again, pending Bitcoin doing well or just going sideways for another week or two, Matic will come back up and at least hit 170 to 210. Because the price should be in this range here. This is where the price should be. The reason why it's not is because we've got Elon candle, China candle, Elon candle, China candle, right? Literally, I think Matic would be upwards of $3 or $4 right now if it wasn't for those 2 instances that happened 2 times in a row, a few weeks apart. Okay, so that's my thought, my consideration here. So I would say that Matic is still looking very good, but we are reaching this state of exhaustion, I would say. So if we see 8 and 9 on the time to mark, then it should be likely a good cause for considering to take entry. Okay. So again, that's all I have for you here today. Hopefully you found this beneficial. If you did, please like and subscribe, show your support. I have a Patreon account. I'm going to have a premium membership moving forward here in the next week or two. Again, I'm fine-tuning the details, but I got a lot of requests from the community to have a signal group because you like my trading style. It's been very effective for a lot of people, and I like to make sure that I give you proper signals as well. So I'm kind of working that out to make sure that we all benefit from this. So I'm going to have that here soon, and we'll just go ahead and see what that looks like moving forward. But that'll be available through my Patreon. But between now and then, I will be doing live streams on the weekends and hopefully throughout the weekdays in the distant near future, if that makes sense. All right, well, thanks again for watching. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.